coming, as dismal and hard to believe as it might be, is the repeat of history. Hi folks, it's Silver Dave at LocalSilverMint. I am so tired. It has been such a crazy day today, and we sold a boatload of silver. It was absolutely insane. Wow. I'm like, my brain is fried from all this. And so, wow. Well, in this video, I wanted to talk about preparation. Preparation for the future. I am very into being prepared. I was an Eagle Scout, which is the highest rank of Boy Scouts that you can get. And that the motto of the Boy Scouts is be prepared. Also, I was a Green Beret in the Army Special Forces, and being prepared for the mission was very important. And in fact, we even did rehearsals whereby we would rehearse the mission before we would go and get dropped off by the helicopters. So we would set up sort of like a mock-up target site, and we would practice where we would get landed by the helicopter, where we would maneuver, how we'd maneuver to the different buildings and coordinate with different maneuvering elements. And we did those rehearsals. And it was really important because we found out as when we did those rehearsals, for the first time we'd do it, everyone was all jacked up. People were going all over the place. And so we learned that doing those rehearsals is really important. And it made the missions go a lot smoother. And so being prepared, rehearsing, practice, planning in advance. And so in this video, I wanted to talk about some of the ways that you can prepare yourself for what is coming. And folks, I don't mean to be Debbie Downer all the time, but we are in this situation, and that it is possible that you could try to sugarcoat the situation, and you could try to look at things and say, you know, that looks really dark and scary. I don't want to know. The problem with that is that then when this thing unfolds, you're not going to be prepared for it. And even though some things are scary, it's been often said that the thing you fear is the thing you need to work on, the thing that you need to go after. And when you're scared of something, sometimes it means you need to dive into it and that you need to conquer that fear. And maybe that's part of your cosmic path or purpose. And so here we are at the end of a 100-year cycle of the Federal Reserve note. The Federal Reserve note is the longest lasting fiat currency in known history. Typically, the fiat currencies last about 30 to 50 years. The Federal Reserve note has got 100+ years going, and it is rapidly declining. In the future, it seems quite clear that the global power elite, the dark overlords, they want a digital currency, one that they control, one that they track and trace, and that digital currency is possibly the most dangerous thing to freedom and liberty that I could ever imagine. And it's so dangerous, and people don't realize how dangerous it is, because they will be able to stop your ability to buy or sell if you don't do what they tell you, and that the terms and conditions of using their digital currency could include a litany of different things, even as far as what you're allowed to buy or how much chocolate you're allowed to buy or your social credit score, but even worse, that they may require a medical procedure that we've already seen, that these guys had already mandated medical procedures that they required you to take an experimental thing. They can't say out loud the name of it, but that they wanted you to take it, even though it wasn't tested. They even told pregnant women, take this thing. They just invented it. Supposedly, they just invented it. I think that they had made it, many, many years before, and they knew what it's going to do. And so that it wasn't really as new as they said it was, but they didn't want people to know that, because what they said it was for wasn't what it was really for. And what it was really for They didn't say what that was. And so being prepared and having means to still be able to survive. And so some of the things that I think about, you know that I like silver. Obviously, I'm Silver Dave. I'm into silver because I think silver is like probably one of the best things to stack, not only for the gain potential of it in terms of the price going up, but also your ability to spend it, to buy basic essentials off the grid. And so stacking silver, very important. Probably the first thing on my list. And that silver, to me, I feel like your silver should have a few key components. One of those key components, possibly the most important and most overlooked, little pieces of silver for barters and trades, like 1/10 ounce silver that we sell. You can buy it, click the link below. We've been selling so much of it lately, it's unbelievable. SD Bullion received another shipment of it on Monday, and it sold out the same day. And so we sent them even more. People are buying a lot of 1/10 ounce silver. Get past the spot price when you're thinking about your barter silver. Think about how many pieces, because each little piece you have represents a time where you can go to the marketplace and buy fresh bread, fresh vegetables, fresh eggs. If your piece of silver is too big, you're going to have to buy a lot, or you're going to have to overpay. And if you have to buy 100 loaves of bread with your ounce of silver, what's your wife going to say when you get home with 100 loaves of bread? Like, what are you going to do with all that bread? Wouldn't it have been better to have spent 1/10 instead of a whole ounce and got the things you needed? So 1/10 ounce silver, but also really important to get some silver that you get as a low premium per ounce, like 1 ounce rounds or 10 ounce bars, and that gets you your dollar inflation hedge, and you get it at a low price per ounce. And that's a little different than your barter silver, which you pay more for, but that's for your barters and trades. And you'll make the money on that when you spend the silver, versus the dollar inflation hedge, that you're going to trade that for big stuff like land or a truck. And so having both of those, really important. But also, some of the other things I like that you probably heard me talk about, I like to stack candles and lighters. I like those things because I use them. And I don't mind getting stuck with a lot of them, but also you can use them as a barter tool. You can trade it for other goods and services that you need, or you can use it yourself. Things like maple syrup. I really like maple syrup. Another thing on our shelf here is practically sold out. These jars of copper. We had a guy who's actually renting this little shelf, and he sold a ton of copper in the past few weeks. And the idea of the copper is that copper is really interesting to me. I think that copper and silver might be the best performing metals over this next few years, largely because most of the silver market, and when I say most, we're talking most by a long shot, on paper, the commodities futures Wall Street guys, very honest people, they're selling 403 ounces of silver on paper for every 1 ounce of silver produced. Huge paper silver bubble. But the paper copper bubble, I can't even figure out how big it is. Can't even figure out how much copper is on paper relative to the copper being produced. I roughly gather that it's similar, if not even worse, than the paper silver, largely because it's even harder to track how much copper is out there. So it allows these guys to flim-flam the numbers even more. So copper, I'm into copper, but I'm really mostly, the copper rounds and copper bars, they're kind of neat to have a few or as a gift or something to play with, but they have a very high premium, very high. And we're talking like 400-500% of the market price of the copper. So if you're going to want to get copper, you might want to look for copper that you can buy at a lower premium, something you can buy close to the market price of copper. Even these jugs of copper, he's selling it for around $5 a pound. Copper on the market is around $4 a pound right now. So if you can get access, even if it's scrap copper pipes, things like that, if you can get it cheaply, you might want to get some of that and just stack it up, set it off to the side. Don't try to make it into bars, just leave it the way it is. And I think that might serve you well, and the copper, especially little pieces, might make a barter tool. Even pre-1982 pennies are made of copper. The 82 and after pennies are made of nickel, zinc, and they're copper plated. They're worth practically 1/100th of a cent. But the 1981 and older pennies, they're made of copper, solid copper. They may actually be a great barter tool. Each of those little pennies might trade for goods and services, assuming the government doesn't confiscate those too. Note that in 1933, they took the gold out of the money. In 1965, they took the silver out of the money. In 1982, they took the copper out of the pennies. And this year, they're taking the nickel out of the nickels. And actually, nickels are another one. You may want to stack nickels. Nickels right now have a melt value of around 5.5 cents. And so, you may want to stack nickels. You can't melt them or do anything like that yet, but maybe someday you may be able to if the empire falls. But also, you can still trade them. So nickels, another thing that I think is pretty neat. And then, just some more stuff. I have like soap. I have these bars of soap that I actually got from India. They don't have any chemicals in them, which I liked, and they were really affordable. So I bought, a whole lot of them, and I feel like I could use it because I like to have soap. It's nice to wash off with soap, but also you can trade them for other things, goods and services. Combs. That's another weird one. I know I told this story before, but I needed a comb once and I was out traveling. In fact, here's my chance to respond to a guy's comment. They were like, Dave, what do you use a comb for? Well, I comb my beard. And if I haven't shaved my head in a while, sometimes you can comb that too. But I needed a comb one time and I was away at a hotel and I didn't have it. So I went to the CVS looking for a comb, and they only had one option for a comb to choose from, and it was a stainless steel comb. It was $10. And I was like, what the heck? And so then I went out and I found 1,000 plastic combs. No, those plastic combs last freaking forever. You don't need stainless steel. And I bought 1,000 combs for $25. Never need a comb again. And I bet they'll make a good barter tool later on. Some of the other ones people have mentioned is hard liquor, like grain alcohol. It's a fuel, it's a disinfectant. You can even drink it if if you're needing to drink something like that, or if things are tough, sometimes, you want to have a drink. So those are all some things that you could potentially stack and or use to prep. So you may want to consider some of those things too, because what's coming, as dismal and hard to believe as it might be, is the repeat of history. And history repeats or rhymes, as some say. And the idea that people think that financial crash or Great Depression is a thing of the past and it's over, it'll never happen again, just that very mindset is the mindset that will cause you a big problem. When you become complacent and you think, oh, you never have to worry about this thing anymore, well, then the thing comes and you weren't prepared for it. So if we're wrong and this financial system just keeps going for decades longer, maybe, but it's not likely. Not likely at all. This thing is unraveling fast before our eyes. So it's best to be prepared. And I hope you're thinking about that. I hope you're stacking silver, but I also hope you're thinking about some of the things that you regularly use and having additional supply. Also food, maybe some stored food, but also linking up with your local farms and local farmers, finding where you can find food on the local economy and pay for it with silver. I hope you're thinking about this. I'm going to close this video out. I'm so tired, but we wanted to film a video while we had a chance before we opened again and things get crazy again. So I just gave you this 2 cents. I hope it serves you, and I look forward to seeing you here in the showroom or on our videos. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Silver Dave. This is Local Silver Mint. Buy our products on the link below if you want to. They're there for you. We hope you do. And thank you for watching. And remember to keep on stacking. Yeah.